We continue to listen the Four Noble Truths. First, we have to recite Dukkha Ariya Sija Pali. Can you follow me? Kataminja Bhikkhave Dukkha Ariya Sijam Jativi Dukkha Jaravi Dukkha Maranabi Dukkha Soka Paridewa Dukkha Domana Subhaya Sabi Dukkha Abhiyai Samyogopi Dukkha Biyehi Vibhyogopi Dukkha Yampejana Lavati Dambi Dukkha Sanketena Pinjubhadane Khanda Dukkha. Say together. Kadaminja Bhikkhave Dukkha Ariya Sijam Jativi Dukkha Jarabi Dukkha Maranabi Dukkha Soka Paridewa Dukkha Domana Subhaya Sabi Dukkha Abhiyai Samyogopi Dukkha Biyehi Vibhyogopi Dukkha Yampejana Lavati Dambi Dukkha Sanketena Pinjubhadane Khanda Dukkha. Translation, can you follow me? And what bhikkhus is the noble truth of suffering? Birth is suffering, aging is suffering, death is suffering, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and excessive despair are suffering. Association with the disliked is suffering. Separation from the liked is suffering. Not to get what one wishes, that also is suffering. In brief, the five aggregates of clinging are suffering. The noble truth of suffering, harmony, dukkha, jati, jara, marana, soka, paridewa, dukkha, domanassa, upayasa. Upayasa, abhiyai sambhyogopi dukkha, bhiyai vibhyogopi dukkha, yampejana lavati, dambi dukkha, sanketena pinjubhadane khanda dukkha. Altogether 12 dukkha, 12 suffering. Buddha expounded in the noble truth of dukkha, suffering. The last exposition of the first noble truth, Sanketena Pinjubhadane Khanda Dukkha. In brief, the five aggregates of clinging are suffering. We have no difficulty in accepting birth is suffering, decay is suffering, death is suffering, because it's clear. But with regard to the last statement, Buddha said, in brief, the five aggregates of clinging are suffering. We may have some difficulty Though we sometimes enjoy ourselves, sometimes we are happy. As a young man, as a young people, they may enjoy some sensual pleasures and so on. Is that sukha? Is that happiness? Or isn't that happiness? According to the Buddha, enjoying sensual pleasures are also dukkha, suffering. The five aggregates of clinging, Buddha said that most beings are composed of five groups, five aggregates. Aggregates of matter, aggregates of feeling, aggregates of perception, aggregates of mental formation, aggregates of consciousness. Or we can say we have the body, we have the feeling, perception, other mental states, and consciousness. These five aggregates, almost all of these five aggregates are object of clinging, the object of attachment. So by this last sentence of the Buddha, in brief, the five aggregates of clinging are suffering. Buddha means to say everything in the world, everything in the worlds of sentient beings is suffering. What we think, what we consider to be happiness is on analysis of the Buddha, suffering. Why? Because Buddha said, Yadan nichan tan dukkha. Whatever is impermanent is dukkha. So anything that is impermanent must be dukkha, suffering. Whether we translate it as suffering or not, everything that is impermanent is dukkha. Our body our body are they permanent or impermanent? You are observing the body, kaya, the whole day, the whole month. You are observing your body permanent or impermanent. Your body, our body will not last forever. Our thoughts, our mental states, they just come and go. So what we take to be happiness just comes and goes. The person enjoys life, he enjoys sensual pleasures, but they do not last long. They come and go. Since they are impermanent, because they have a beginning and an end, they are said to be dukkha. So in this sense, everything in this sentient world is dukkha. That is why we should understand dukkha with reference to the meaning given by the commentary that dukkha means something that is despicable and empty. So it is despicable, it is dreadful because it is the haunt of many dangers. It is the home of many dangers. It is empty because there is no permanent entity, no living entity. There is no soul, there is no self. So we should understand the first noble truth at both these two levels, the ordinary level and the deeper philosophical level. Only when we understand in these two ways, we can say that we understand the first noble truth. Only when we understand in this way, we can accept that dukkha, suffering, is everywhere. Dukkha is everywhere. It does not make you depressed. Many people frankly say that they do not like Buddhism because Buddhism talks about dukkha very much. It is like a physician telling a patient that he or she has a disease. A physician is a means a patient and he finds a disease in that person. Then the physician must say, you have such and such disease. We cannot accuse the physician of being a pessimist or, or of having the desire to depress his patients. That is because it is a fact. He must declare this fact to the patient. In the same way, we are like patients, and Buddha diagnosed us, Buddha diagnosed beings, and Buddha found that we all are suffering from this dukkha disease. So the Buddha said, you have this dukkha disease. It is just stating the fact. It is not stated to make us sorry. It is not stated to make us depressed. If we understand the last explanation of the Buddha that the 5 aggregates of clinging are suffering, then we can understand that we can accept that. The world is really dukkha. According to the last statement in the exposition of the first noble truth, we should understand that life itself is suffering, or that life is equated with suffering. So when we say suffering, we mean life. And when we say life, we mean suffering. Pinchupadana dukkha, the 5 aggregates of clinging are suffering. 5 aggregates are the nama and rupa. You can simply understand. The 5 aggregates of clinging, upadana khanda, or nama and rupa, conspicuous every time we see, we hear, we smell, we taste, we touch, and we know. The upadana khanda is prominent on every occasions of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. At the moment of seeing, what are conspicuous? Eye sensitivity, the object of sight, and the consciousness of seeing are quite conspicuous. In this consciousness of seeing, they are comprised pleasant or unpleasant feeling of seeing, perception or recognition of the object seen, and making effort, and you bend your mind to accomplish the act of seeing, the knowledge that an object is just seen. If we do not practice meditation, or even though we practice, we have not yet advanced to the stage of appreciating the true nature of mind and matter, true nature of impermanent suffering and non-self, we remain attached to the I and the object of sight, etc. So unmindful people regard the clear eyesight as, I see, it is my eyes, and it is permanent. When they see the body and the limbs, the attachment arises. I see my own body. This is my leg, this is my hand. The hand exists permanently. The legs exist permanently. And he see other people, and people appear as a living entity. People appear as enduring, lasting. So these attachments may arise. Because of such arousal of attachment to them, material form of eye sensitivity, the object of sight, are called rupa upadana khanda. And the feeling, both pleasant and unpleasant feelings, give rise to attachment. I see beautiful scenery. This is my pleasant feeling. Pleasant feeling is everlasting. I feel well. I feel painful. I feel terrible. So causing attachment in this way, pleasant and unpleasant feeling on seeing an object is called Vedana Upadana Khanda. And on perceiving an object, attachment arises in this way also. I recognize it. I don't forget it. So that perception is called the grasping group of perception, sinya, upadana khanda. You exercise your will to see an object because you want to see, and then you see. That exercising your will to see an object is called volition or chetana. So in the vocabulary of the text, it is called incitement or exaltation or urging. But will or volition express its meaning quite clearly. So there we also attachment towards them as I or enduring. So these two mental concomitants of willing and bending your mind involved in an act of seeing is called Sankara Upadana Khanda. By Sankara, it is meant conditioning. In the case of seeing, it means bringing about condition to accomplish the act of seeing. Just knowing that an object is seen is eye consciousness, seeing consciousness. It is also attached to as I see, I know. The seeing eye is everlasting. So because of the possibility of such attachment, consciousness is called Vijnana Upadana Khanda. So if you are not mindful, if you not capture these five aggregates of mind and matter, attachment will arise. So yesterday we recited at the moment of seeing, the eyes and the object of sight are rupa, upadana khanda, etc. And yesterday also we listened the hearing, the five aggregates. At the moment of hearing, if you do not mindful, if you have no ability to capture these phenomena, there will come attachment or anger regarding this sight, regarding this sound, etc. So today we go to number three. Number three, at the moment of smelling. You smell your body smell, and when you go to the dining hall, the smell, various kinds of smell. When you walk outside, fresh air, some smell of the trees. So at the moment of smelling, there is clearly the material body of the nose sensitivity, and there is also the smell and the consciousness which knows the smell. So in the consciousness of smelling, there are four nama group. They are comprised the pleasant or unpleasant feeling of smelling. Sometimes good smell and there comes pleasant feeling, bad smell and unpleasant feeling, and recognition of the smell, exercising your will to smell and to turn your attention towards the object of smelling, and then knowing of the smell. So if you not mindful, if you fail to know smelling as smelling, and to see the phenomena of smelling as it truly is, what will happen? If we are not mindful, attachment to the smell, as I smell, I have a good smell, etc. Because of the possibility of such attachment, the nose sensitivity, the smell, and the consciousness of smell are known as upadana khanda. Now you are mindful. When you smell something, you know smelling, and you can capture the upadana khanda or nama and rupa. So what you discover when you know the smelling, when you know the smell, at the moment of smelling, the nose sensitivity and the smell you capture. The nose sensitivity and the smell are rupa. They are rupa, only rupa. And then sometimes you may capture the pleasant feeling of smelling or unpleasant feeling of smelling. That is Vedana Upadana Khanda. And the sinya, you recognize or remember the smell. That is Senya Upadana Khanda. And you exercise your will to smell and you turn your mind towards the smelling object. That is Sankara. That is not you. That is not the person. That is Sankara. And you just know the smell. That is Vijnana Upadana Khanda. So now you are mindful all the time, and the smelling process, you capture these upadana khanda or nama and rupa due to your scale, and you can investigate these upadana khanda. So to know smelling and smelling every time the smell is smelled. And then you see the 5 groups of rupa and nama as they really are. And having smelled the smell, you can remain at the stage of just smelling. You do not become attached to the smell. I smell, or pleasant smell, or unpleasant smell, good, etc. You do not attach to that smell. So mindful person can capture these upadana khanda, and then they can capture these upadana khanda, and they understand that they disappear at the moment of smelling. So there is no attachment to these 5 groups of grasping. So to understand this, you need to discover. So can you follow me, Mahasisya aphorism? At the moment of smelling, the nose and the smell are rupa upadana khanda. The pleasant or unpleasant feeling of smelling is Vedana Upadana Khanda. Recognizing and remembering the smell is Sinya Upadana Khanda. Exercising the will to smell and turning the mind towards the smelling object is Sankara Upadana Khanda. Just knowing of the smell is Vijnana Upadana Khanda. So due to your level, you can capture these aggregates or you can capture these nama and rupa, and they just temporarily appearing and disappearing quickly. So there is no attachment, no liking or disliking regarding to this smell. And eating, number 4, at the moment of tasting. At the moment of knowing the taste through eating, what are the clear phenomena you need to discover? You very mindful. Yes, clearly the tongue sensitivity and the taste and the consciousness of the taste. So in this consciousness of the taste, they are comprised the pleasant or unpleasant feeling of the taste. You recognize or remembering the taste. You exercise your will and turn the attention towards the object to accomplish the task of eating and just knowing of the taste. If we not mindful of eating at the moment of eating, if we not mindful, and if we do not see the true phenomena of eating as they truly are, there may come attachment. Delicious food, not delicious, I'm tasting, etc. Attachment may arise. Because of the possibility of such attachment, the tongue sensitivity, the taste, and the consciousness of taste are known as upadana khandha. Now all yogis are very mindful when eating. It is you very familiar to practice this, because without patience you cannot do like this. But with patience, and you really mindful eating. And then these aggregates you can investigate or you can discover. So at the moment of eating, the tongue sensitivity and the taste are rupa upadana khandha. Pleasant or unpleasant feeling or taste is vedana upadana khandha. Or recognizing or remembering the taste is sanya upadana khandha. Exercising the will to taste and turning the attention towards the object of taste is sankhara upadana khandha. So, Marzi Sarah aphorism, can you follow me? At the moment of eating, the tongue and the taste are rupa upadana khandha. Pleasant and unpleasant feeling of taste is vedana upadana khandha. Recognizing or remembering the taste is sanya upadana khandha. Exercising the will to taste and turning the attention towards the object of taste is sankhara upadana khandha. Just knowing of the taste is vijnana upadana khandha. So you may discover or you may investigate any one, sometimes pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, just temporary feeling arises and you note it and disappear. And sometimes you recognize the taste, that is sanya. So to taste or to eat, you have to exercise your way to taste. And you turn your attention towards the object of taste. That is not you eating. Who eating? Sankhara. So just knowing the taste is vijnana. So tasting is just for a few seconds, you know. But preparing the food take time. The kitchen have to cook the whole day. They have to prepare. So while eating the food, preparing a morsel of the food your hand, bringing the food up and putting the food into your mouth, chewing the food. All these actions are concerned with knowing the sensation of touch, not tasting yet, not eating yet. And knowing the taste of the tongue. Because while chewing the food, you taste it. That is consciousness of the taste. So noting the taste on every occasion of you are eating the food, you carry on noting, keep on noting, eating, chewing, chewing, chewing. You try to see the aggregates as they really are. And the 5 groups of nama and rupa, which manifest themselves at the time of your tasting. And then you can remain at the stage of just tasting. And there is no attachment to that taste. It is delicious, or I eating, or I tasting, or it is permanent, it is pleasant, it is good, etc. No attachment at all when you are mindful at the moment of tasting. So in the text there it mentioned many people, many bhikkhus attain arahant when they are practicing eating meditation in the Dani hall. So very, very amazing. And then number 5, touching. Touching, this sense of touch covers a wide field. Eye sensitivity is only just small area. Hearing is only just small area. Smelling, small area. And see, hearing, smelling, tasting, only tongue sensitivity, very small. But the sense of touch cover a wide field. Many areas cover. Throughout the whole body of a person, wherever flesh and blood are in good condition, is diffused. Kaya pasada, sensuous surface, that gives the sense of touch. Both inside the body, in the flesh and in the blood, in the muscle, in the bones, etc., and outside the body, on the skin, the sensitive principle lies spread out, not leaving an area the size of a pinpoint. Wherever this sensitive principle exists, the sense of touch you can feel. So at the moment of touching, this sensitive principle, which has the ability to see the material tactile body, is prominent. It becomes evident as the site of impact, sites of impact, but not as any form or shape. In the same way, the sensitive parts of the ears, nose, and tongues become evident as sites of impact, where sense of hearing, smell, and taste are developed. And then also prominent at the moment of impact is the material tactile body. So material tactile body may be any of the three elements, Patawi, earth elements, Tejo, fire elements, Vayo, air elements. So when there is touching, you're very, very mindful. Touching, sitting, etc. Now when you sit, you know sitting, touching, sitting, touching. So what you discover, what you investigate, the hardness, roughness, smoothness, softness, you feel it. So hardness, roughness, smoothness, and softness, the series of movement, uh, a series of roughness, etc. So in this smoothness and softness, you don't see any living entity. You don't see any man. Smoothness is not the man. Softness is not the woman. It is not a living entity. It is just phenomena. And then sometimes you may feel heat, warm or cold. So warm or cold, you investigate. In the phenomena of warm and cold, you don't see any person, any living entity. When you sit, just no sitting, you feel pressure or movement. Rising, falling, you feel movement, you discover the movement. Movement is not the person. Movement is just comes and go very quickly. You don't see any person in these movements or pressure or stiffness. So that is material tactile body. So such sensation or touch may arise as a result of friction between different elements in your body or through contact outside the body with clothing, bedding, seats, earth, water, wind, fire, or heat of the sun. So such impact produce very vivid sensation or touch. So the consciousness or touch comprise of pleasant or unpleasant feeling. Sometimes touching is very pleasant, but sometimes very, very painful. And then touching, you note it and you can discover perception of the impact. And you exercise of the will and you bend your mind to accomplish the act of touching. And just knowing that a contact has been established. So the feeling of pleasure or unpleasantness is especially vivid. Physical pain, toothache, backache, and in the sunny, very, very hot, and in the cold season, very cold. So the feeling of suffering, so which arises through disagreeable contact. So if we not mindful, if we fail to be mindful at the moment of touch and to see the reality as it truly is, there will come attachment. I pain, I feel, I go, etc. I sit. So towards all the objects which become prominent at the time of touching, and accordingly, the size of touch, the sensation surface, sensitive principle, and the feeling of touch, and knowing that a contact has been made, all are called upadana khanda. So Master Sayadaw have this aphorism at the moment of touching. Now you are noting rising, falling, sitting, touching, walking, stretching, bending. You can discover as your scale. So we have to recite number 5 at the moment of touching. Can you follow me? At the moment of touching, the sensation surface and the impact of the touch are rupa upadana khanda. The pleasant or unpleasant feeling of touch is vedana upadana khanda. Recognizing or remembering the object of touch is sanya upadana khanda. Exercising the will to touch and turning the attention to accomplish the act of touching is Sankara Upadana khanda. Just knowing that contact is made is Vijnana Upadana khanda. Yogi very mindful, the practice of noting the body postures. When you go, you know going. When you stand, you know standing. When you sit, you know sitting. When you lie down, you know lying down. When you bend, you know bending, stretching, moving, rising, falling. All are made just to be mindful of these 5 groups of grasping. When you note these body postures, the specially perceptible elements is vayo, air elements. So when you sit, you feel the vayo is called stiffness, pressure, movement. As they really are, you can discover. So that is rupa, stiffness, pressure, movement is material body, because material body have no power of cognition. And you know the knowing mind that takes note of the body postures. You also see as they truly are. That is nama, consciousness, which recognize an object. So you note every occasion and at every occasion of noting, there is always a pair, Rupa and Nama. Rupa, the object which is taken note of, and Nama, the knowing mind which takes note of it. So after you perceive this fact exactly and clearly, then your vipassana knowledge developed. And you can understand the knowledge of cause and effect. Before going, you're really mindful and you capture the intention, desire to go. So there is going impulses because of desire to go. There is sitting to listen to talk because you want to listen. So there is intention and movement and postures. You capture it, etc. And that is the knowledge of cause and effect. Then you perceive clearly that Rupa, the object noted, and Nama, the knowing mind, arise and vanish, arise afresh and vanish again at the very moment of your noting. The more you note, the more they disappear. So you realize that these phenomena are transient, they are painful and distressing, and they are happening according to their own nature, and they are not controllable. Because of this realization, you no longer have any attachment on your going, standing, sitting, etc. So that is how attachment is cut off in accordance with the Satipatthana Sutta. You follow very thoroughly, and Buddha said in the Satipatthana Sutta, Nacha Kinji Loge Upadiyati. There is no more attachment on anything of the world, namely the material body or the five aggregates. So to be thus free from attachment, you are developing your mindfulness on your body, you are developing your mindfulness on the feeling, you are developing your mindfulness on the mind and mental objects. So painful feelings such as stiffness, feeling hot, aching, itching, etc. become evident at the location of impact. If we fail to note the distress as it occurs and to see its true nature, there will come attachment. I feel stiff, I feel pain, I feel hurt, I'm distressed, etc. So attachment will arise when we are not mindful. It is to avoid such attachment that mindful noting of the distressful feeling has to be made to realize its true nature. So if you watch closely and continuously of the painful feeling, it will reveal clearly how painful feeling of stiffness, hotness, aches appear to come up afresh in your body, one after another in succession. Then you realize your personal conviction will come that these painful feelings exist for a moment only and then vanish, and that they are of impermanent nature. They are no longer grasped at as I, mine, or permanent, and you become free from attachment, upadana. So you are mindful of taking of every seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. So we will continue next time. 5 groups of grasping at the moment of thinking. Thinking are very extensive in scope. So we will continue next time. We have to stop our discourse for today by practicing vipassana meditation, by observing every phenomena occurring at the 6 senses, by noting rising, falling, sitting, seeing, hearing, smelling continuously and meticulously. May all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all yogis realize the real peace in the very near future. So